Hi everyone, this is a review of the Harley Benton EX-84 modern guitar with active EMGs. I've had the guitar now for a few months and I wanted to just share some thoughts about it and whether I think it's worth considering or not. This is not sponsored, this video. I bought this guitar myself with my own money and rolled the dice to see whether it was any good or not, knowing that Thomann, certainly to the UK, has a 30-day money-back guarantee. So I thought it was worthwhile trying the guitar and seeing what it was like, and then if it was really not working for me, I knew that I could send it back. So this video doesn't have any sounds of the guitar. I will link to a playlist where I've played the guitar in various videos, and I will keep adding to that as well as I keep on making more, because I do enjoy playing the guitar. But it's worthwhile noting some of the positives and the negatives of the guitar because it does have a few here and there. If you like this, please do comment, like and subscribe, and yeah, let's go for it. So I mean, really this guitar is based on the James Hetfield guitar, the Gibson Explorer that he uses in Nothing Else Matters. If you've seen that video, I'm sure you've seen him playing this and sitting there playing the solo on there. Since seeing that video many years ago, I've always wanted one of those types of guitars, but that kind of Gibson Explorer type guitar is really very expensive, talking thousands and thousands of pounds, especially now. So I wanted something like that, but I wanted to not spend quite so much money, and luckily this came along and is relatively inexpensive, so I thought it was worthwhile giving a go. Now, the quality for the price, my overall first impressions were good. It has some cosmetic things which are worthy of note, but nothing too major on it that really bothered me too much. I'll show you that, which is, I noticed a little bit of paint missing here on where the jack socket has gone in. Now, presumably they've painted this and they probably forced the jack socket in and it's stripped off a bit of the paint. It's not a huge deal, but I've noted it to Thomann. I gave them a call and they were very nice about it, and they gave me a slight discount on the guitar. I could choose to have a discount or I could choose to send it back and get a new one. For the hassle of sending it back, I just thought I'm going to keep this and I'll take a little bit of a discount. Which I thought was good of them to sort of meet me sort of halfway, and there was a bit of compromise on both sides to say, okay, you know, we can meet in the middle here. So I was happy with that at least. Apart from that, I haven't noticed any cosmetic issues or problems with the guitar, and that's something that can be painted over anyway. So I'm not too worried about that. In terms of the specs of the guitar, it has a mahogany body. It has a set-in mahogany neck, so you can see that there with a nice cutaway, and it feels very smooth there, and it's nicely done. It has the sort of the tummy tuck there as well, the sort of the belly comfort cutaway, which I find very comfortable, and I like to try and have that on most of my guitars. I know Gibson's Les Pauls don't normally have that, so I think that's quite a nice feature. For example, it has the battery compartment here, which is just a simple flip up, and the battery just goes in there and you can flip that back on there. I've seen it on a lot of guitars that have active pickups. This is just a screw in, and every time you want to change the battery you have to unscrew that and take it off and put it back, which is a bit of a pain. So I like the fact that you don't have to do that with this guitar. The fretboard itself is Ebony, which is a nice feature. It's a slim taper C neck profile, which I will come on to again later, because actually I think that this is, in my opinion, it feels a bit slightly more like a U, in a good way, but I will, as I say, I'll get onto that. The scale is 628 millimeters. Again, it's the same sort of scale as a Gibson, not the longer scale of a Strat, which is what you'd expect. The nut is a Graphtec Tusk XL nut. Let's just try and get that in without breaking anything. Here we go. So there's not really much to see apart from it's a well cut nut. It's not sprouting out of the fretboard. It fits in nicely. It's actually had some attention to detail paid to it, so that's well done. It's 22 extra jumbo frets. Now, as I mentioned, it's got the active EMGs, the EMG 81 in the bridge and the EMG 60 in the neck. I found these to be really good for my purposes. I was initially unsure because I thought that these would be very good for just basic heavy metal, sort of to cut through the mix and sort of be possibly quite trebly. Have a lot of treble and not much body to them. I'm very surprised though, because I play a lot of Jimi Hendrix, maybe a bit of even John Mayer and that kind of music, a bit of R&B, etc., as well as rock, a bit of metal, and these so far have worked really well for me, and I really enjoy playing with these and give me a really good breadth of tone. And surprisingly, when I flip over to the bridge, I can get some really kind of good Jimi Hendrix sounds out of this, which I was not expecting, because I thought this guitar would be exclusively for metal, which is what I was going to use it for, because I like to play a whole bunch of different genres, and I thought, okay, well, I'll stick to Les Pauls, etc., my rocky stuff, you know, for sort of Clapton, etc. I'll stick to my Strat, and this is going to be all my Metallica, sort of otherwise kind of Rain in Blood, Slayer type of stuff, all that kind of thing. I thought, well, that's what this is going to be good for. In fact, it covers a lot more bases than I thought, and it's currently my go-to. But anyway, I don't want to get all fanboy about it, because then that would be overkill. So, Grover locking tuners, I'll show you those. They work very well. I've not had any problems so far with that. Anything, you know, any problems going out of tune as I'm playing, that just doesn't happen. So they've been working very well for me. Obviously, black hardware, and the colour is noted as a vintage white gloss. To me, this is a vintage would be a more sort of a yellowy colour. I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, please do. This is in fact a bit more of a bright white, which suits me well anyway. I quite like a brighter white in terms of colour, and I think Thomann have been through various iterations of this model, and they've changed the colour slightly as time has gone on. So as I say, this is more of a bright white. It's not a really brilliant white, but it is a brighter white, and I'm sure over time it might very well yellow slightly, like most white guitars do, which frankly wouldn't be a problem, because it looks to me as well, I mean, that looks just as cool. I'm very happy with it. So the knobs themselves here, the hardware, they're decent. They absolutely do the job. I mean, they're nothing out of the ordinary. All I would say that's worthy of note is that they actually fix on to the guitar with, you can use an Allen key to get them on and off, rather than ones that are just pull on and off, which I prefer these, because obviously these are fixed much more firmly, so you're not in danger of just pulling them off by mistake as you're playing. The toggle switch, the pickup toggle switch, is okay quality. If I was to pinpoint anything which I would change on this guitar, it would be this. It's a bit loose. It's not bad, it absolutely works, it does the job, there's no problems with it, but you could potentially, if you're picky with that kind of thing, you might want to just change this one to something a bit higher quality. The weight of the guitar is good. It is 3.4 kilograms or 7.5 pounds. I measured it just before doing this video. To me, that's a good weight. I play mostly standing up, so if the guitar's too heavy, I mean, again, I mentioned Gibsons, Les Pauls, they tend to be quite heavy. You're talking 4 kilograms, around about that. Then that starts to get quite heavy if you're playing for a long time. So that's the only thing that deters me from using those guitars for any length of time standing up, whereas this, it's no problem. You can use this for hours and really not feel it. It's very comfortable for that. Playability wise, now coming back to the neck profile, they mention it's a Slim C, tapered Slim C, I think they said. I will just check. Yeah, slim taper C. Now, if I compare this to my Fender Strat, the Fender Strat has a much thinner neck. This, to me, feels, in fact, more like a U. So to explain, from top to bottom of the fret. So this width here is it's actually quite narrow, which feels nice if that's what you like. But this depth from front to back is quite chunky. So in terms of actually fitting into the sort of the cup of your hand here, the arch, this arch, it feels very comfortable to hold and to grip onto. So you can play fast, and you can play fast up and down the neck, but it doesn't. What you don't get, which I do have problems with on my Strat, if I'm playing big bends and trying to get my thumb really over the neck to play big bends, then it can be quite uncomfortable because I've got no grip here and I'm struggling to really get a good hold of the guitar. With this, I don't have that problem, and that was a big deal to me because, I mean, in fact, not to go too far off on a tangent, when I was looking for a new guitar, I was going towards a new Les Paul, but then I saw this, I found some reviews of this, and in fact some people said that it had a thicker neck, and I thought, well, let's give it a go. And it's not that far removed from a Gibson. It's certainly fatter than a Strat, but I would say certainly it's not as thick as a Gibson. So it's somewhere in between, but it is a very comfortable neck, and I personally, it's become my go-to, this guitar, for that reason, because I find it so comfortable for a variety of playing styles. So to go back to the Ebony fretboard, again, that's really good. No issues with that, and again, that's for the price of the guitar. To me, that feels like a high-end feature, and it's very smooth to play on. I really like this. It feels smoother than the rosewood guitars that I've got, and yeah, you can just glide up and down this. There's no sprouting frets that I could feel on this guitar, so again, I was very happy with that, and it feels really good. Now, what I would say in terms of comfort, and I've seen this come up, and not just on this guitar, but on any Explorer type guitar, is the comfort and the neck dive. Now, first of all, in terms of the comfort, what I found is that I actually rest my arm on this quite a lot when I'm standing, and that actually has had a strange knock-on effect of freeing up my wrist to play faster across the strings, which is brilliant. I really like that, and it was unexpected, because when I first got the guitar I thought, this is such a strange shape, I'm not going to necessarily take to this. I was umming and ahhing for a few days, very unsure about whether I was going to keep it or not, but I relaxed into it, I got used to the feel of the guitar, and I found that, yeah, just putting my arm here as I was playing, as I stood up, really it feels very comfortable. It's almost like you've got your arm rest at the bar while you wait for your pint. It feels good. It feels really good. So the other thing was the neck dive. Now this very much depends on where you place the guitar when you stand up. So if you have it low slung, it will have neck dive, I've found. It will really, because you'll need to have the guitar, you'll need to hold the guitar at more of an angle, and it will just plummet. But if you hold it at a normal height, say if you think more sort of Hank Marvin rather than James Hetfield, if you have it more of a normal, so that somewhere in between those two, to play the guitar, you'll actually find that you won't have any neck dive. The guitar is very well balanced if you hold it at a normal height. So that's just something to be aware of, and if you do like to play your guitars low slung, it might cause a bit more fatigue on your fretting hand, because you'll have to use your fretting hand to just hold the neck up as you're playing, which for some people might be okay. For me, luckily, I don't play with the guitar low slung. I play with it at a sort of a more normal kind of level, up around my stomach kind of area, if you like, and that is fine. I don't have any neck dive. I don't have to prop up the guitar with my fretting hand, and happy days, it works. And in terms of sitting, again, there's a variety of opinions on this, but I find it very comfortable to use sitting. Again, I normally rest my arm against this to play the guitar, so I've not really had any issues there. The other thing I wanted to mention was the gig bag, and it's pretty big, so I won't be able to get it all in shot, but I'll just show you some of the padding in it. This has 20 millimeters of padding, and it's the standard extreme gig bag. It's extreme with an X, which is available from Thomann. I looked around and I was trying to find any gig bag I could that would fit an Explorer type guitar, and they tend to be quite expensive because it's quite a strange shape of guitar. And Thomann's offering really was very inexpensive, so it just seemed like a no-brainer to me, and I'm very happy with that. It works and feels very sturdy for the price. So yeah, I was very happy with that. I'm very happy with the guitar. So my final thoughts are that it sounds really good. It's definitely, for me, it's been an absolute keeper, and I've been really enjoying using it. So I plan to keep it for years to come. And yeah, I hope that review was helpful. And if you've got any questions or thoughts, please do comment below. You know, think about subscribing, like the video or dislike it if you don't like it. And yeah, hopefully there's many more to come. Thanks.